The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
What is up, YouTube? Live via satellite here, and today we are talking Kingdom, Manga chapter 572. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this chapter for me was a very satisfying chapter of Kingdom. Ever since Boonen took out our boy Katari, I've been waiting for this moment, and evidently Kitari has been too. And I don't want to get too ahead of myself, because a lot of this stuff we'll be talking about later on, but all you really need to know is that the gist of this chapter is Boonen played dirty and finally got what was coming to him. Alright, so the chapter actually starts out with a picture of the battlefield, and we actually see that even though Sansuiju has left for the city, he's still a long distance away. And that's actually a good thing, because as we focus in on Impo, we see that they're actually attacking the city. And as the Inchi tribe are reaching the top of the walls and attacking the Kwangrong, they're actually confused as to where they're actually coming from, and are trying to get any able-bodied man to fight, because they believe they only need to hold out till their armies return from the battlefield. Meanwhile, we see that even though the Inchi tribe has caught them by surprise, they're not too well off themselves, because after that climb, they're actually pretty exhausted. But we see that old man Impo doesn't want to hear the excuses from his men, because he believes that their comrades on the outside have it way tougher than they do. But in the midst of all the commotion, a few of the Kwangrong think it'd be a good idea to attack old man Impo. And I have to admit that here, when we see these Kwangrong getting like destroyed by hand-to-hand combat, I actually thought it was old man Impo himself doing this. But then we actually get to see that it's a couple other guys who jumped in to protect the chief, and their names are Sekien and Seiyan, and it appears these guys are pretty strong. And I'm just gonna go ahead and assume these guys are brothers, and I'm not gonna lie, man, I really like their design. It's pretty beast to me. It actually reminded me of another set of brothers I know, which takes me back to one of the biggest unsolved mysteries of my childhood. How in the world does a raccoon's tail make you fly? But you know what? Some questions just aren't made to be answered. And Mario's a classic. You really can't be mad at it.
No way! No way! No way! No way! No way!
But the cool thing is here, we do know that Impo does have some skills, because he tells the Brothers not to worry about him and to join the fight. And as Impo's looking on and we see that the sun's beginning to rise, we find out that he made the promise to Yotama that he would have the city taken by sunrise. And the only thing left is for her side to be ready to enter the city when the time comes. Then over at Roseau in the Figo King's battle, we actually see that the Figo King is actually able to withstand a few blows from Roseau. But you can tell that at the moment, Roseau does appear to be a bit stronger. And as the Figo King gets blown back, a few of his men jump into the battle to try and protect him. And then Roseau just goes on a killing spree, destroying all the Figo tribe members who are attempting to attack him. And I can't even lie, when I was reading this, the Figo tribe members all look so similar that I actually thought that Danto died like 4 or 5 times. But the funniest part had to be, while Roseau was just slaughtering all of these men, Heki just happened to roll up. And I mean, Roseau is looking imposing. He's like a monster. In his left hand, we actually see him crushing the head of one of the Figo tribe members. Having a front row seat to this inhuman strength, you can almost hear Heki crapping his pants. You can only hope that he has adequate protection.
Bladder trouble. It's embarrassing. It's uncomfortable. And it can affect anyone.
I'm going to the bathroom right now.
Neat and discreet adult diapers for anyone.
Say,
But we then see Heki clench his teeth and gather his resolve and tell his men to keep pushing forward, that they go to claim Roseau's head with their own hands. But on a serious note, we then switch over to the Boonen battlefield. And as we see that Boonen is getting himself closer and closer to Yotanwa, we see that from her perspective, she notices that the Mare tribe is actually chasing them, but she's unable to see any sign of Katari. And as Boonen turns around, realizing that the Mare tribe, in particular Kitari, has caught up with him, he tells his men to go, and he legitimately tries to pull off the same move that he used to kill Katari. And the funny thing is, if you look at his face in the panel as this is going on, he's like smiling, and you could tell he just knew that this was going to work again.
Nope.
But his plans are foiled because the Mare tribe is more than prepared for this, as a few members jump out in front of Kitari, saying that they won't be losing another chieftain to the same dirty tricks. And this is actually where Yotanwa realizes that Katari has fallen in battle and that Kitari is now the new Mare tribe chieftain. Also explaining that this is the reason that the Mare tribe is able to dominate Boonen's army, even though they're so battle worn. And I love how Kitari, facing off against Boonen, basically tells him, I guess a tiger can't change his stripes, suggesting that she already knew that he was going to try something dirty, which is why he failed so miserably. You can see that cheap shot coming from a mile away. Then we get Boonen frustrated, charging in, trying to land the first blow. And Kitari easily blocks this as they go into a flurry of attacks. But in the middle of these attacks, we see Kitari stop his scythe and then slide down it, chopping off all Boonen's fingers. Seeing this, even Shaman has to comment that that was beyond fast. But apparently we hear from Kitari that Katari was 10 times as fast. And as Boonen's trying to swing his weapon with his one good hand, Kitari slices that one off, showing her strength, but stating that Katari was 100 times stronger than her. And as Boonen's looking down at his one arm with no fingers and his other with no hand, I'm sure he's wishing that he could turn back the clock and maybe do things a little bit differently. Because this right here didn't work out too good for him. Boonen, realizing that there's nothing he can do in this situation, decides that it's time to haul ass. And as he's trying to get away, we see Kitari emotionally going in, slicing Boonen into pieces, saying that a piece of filth like you, pay for that with your life, you shit stain. As we see the remainders of Boonen's body land on the ground, and the Mare tribe celebrating in victory, with Kitari appearing exhausted, and appearing as if a heavy weight has been lifted off her shoulders. And that was the chapter in a nutshell, guys. Alright guys, so to me that was a pretty good chapter of Kingdom, and like the first thing I want to start off with is this fight between Kitari and Boonen. And to be honest, I thought the fight went perfect. Because when you look at this fight, it's meant to show you how Boonen did not stand a chance. Not against Kitari, but against Katari. Which is really the reason why Kitari is so pissed off. It's not because Katari is dead, it's because Katari didn't die to a worthy opponent. And as we saw this chapter, Boonen relies way too heavily on, his dirty tactics to get the job done. Yeah, so to me personally, this wasn't a bad fight. It really just actually confirmed what most of us already thought of Boonen to begin with, which is that he was probably weak, which is probably the reason that he always used these dirty tactics all the time. So now with the three brothers dead, we only have Roseau left standing. And now with the fact that Sensuiju has already left to return to Ryoyu, he's pretty much the only commander left. But what I really was happy about this chapter was that the Figo King survived his first initial clash with Roseau. And that's what I really wanted to see. I wanted to see if Danto was actually able to hold his own against him. And I'm not saying he's out of the woodworks yet, because he could possibly still die next chapter. But besides that, in this particular battle, we really didn't progress it much further. Heki's still trying to get to Roseau, and Danto is still engaged in battle with him. So not much has changed, and my opinion on the matter hasn't changed as well. So whatever's going to happen on this battlefield, if Heki is miraculously somehow able to get this done, then I think the only way that it's actually possible is that if Danto is somehow able to play some sort of role, whether he injures King Roseau or whatever. He has to do something to be able to help Heki get this done. But the good thing is that since Kitari was able to win in her battle so easily, is that maybe she's actually able to go over and help Heki and Danto in their battle against Roseau. Because I really don't think they're too far away from each other, but that's just a thought. We'll really have to just wait and see what goes on with this battle. But talking about the beginning of the chapter, to me, I don't think Sunsuiju is going to have enough time to make it back before the city is actually captured. Because when we saw that map, it looks like he's still pretty far away. But at the same time, it does seem like the battle's just starting. So hopefully in the next chapter, we'll be able to see a little bit more about how that situation develops. But guys, keeping it real, this chapter was pretty straightforward. It wasn't a whole heck of a lot to talk about because it was like a hype type chapter. So let's just jump into the comment of the week. And this week's comment goes out to Blue Sky. And guess what, man? I'm not the only person who liked it. This comment got 11 likes. And what he said was, just imagine this. If Heki Bro actually manages to slay Roseau, then after this arc, you see a panel saying, just hearing that this particular general heads out to battle makes nearby states go into a lockdown. His name is Great General Heki. Wow, reading that comment was like reading a horror story. That is actually frightening to me. I can only hope and pray that horror doesn't tarnish the name of Great General, as he already has the name of General by allowing Heki to become one. But anyway guys, that about does it for this week's review. Let me know what you guys thought of the chapter in the comments section below. Please leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video, and feel free to share, comment, and subscribe. Peace out.